I talked about this with Cole 187, and he was telling me how he was riding around with Eazy one night, and they got no conversation.
The Eric that I know, he would never have his children in harm's way, to no degree.
Right.
That's the Eric I know. You know, because one thing, me and Eazy was riding one night, and he never really slept, and I was like, man, you know, he said, I said, why you hustle so hard? You already rich. You know, you have Rolls Royces, you get mansions and all. He said, man, I got kids I got to take care of, man. I don't want them to want for nothing like me. I don't want them to be out there on the streets like I had to do. And that's what he told me. I was like, I perfectly understand why your grind is like that then.
Now, when you and I met up last time, 10 years ago, before the interview started, someone handed you something that you tucked into your pants. Because we were doing the interview outside in front of your grandmother's house, I believe. And the whole time you were doing the interview, you kept looking around like a drive-by or something might happen. I felt uneasy. I felt I was in a dangerous situation, somewhat. You know, even though I was just filming an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I thought of after this was, how could someone who has made as much money as Eazy E, after he passed, leaves his oldest son in such a dangerous environment?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when Cole 187 told me that the reason why Eazy worked so hard is so his kids would not be in such a situation.
Real talk. It's a trip you said that. Just had a meeting, like I told you the other day. Brothers and sisters just getting a lot off their chest and things that, you know, we know, and then we keep repeating the fact of that our father did a lot of this for us, you know what I mean? It's just being realistic though, you know, the world can see, you know what I mean? A lot of things that the world see, me get or me do or me will do, is me myself working on my own. You know, 200 million in a movie, you know what I mean? And we pray to God that, you know what I mean, that people do right as far as in saying that, you know, his kids can sit there and be some part of that. You know what I mean? Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now. You would think that, you know what I mean, his kids, but the world, I mean, it's people who follow us, who've seen us, as things that we do, individuals who know us and the things that we do. We're living life. Things that I've accomplished and did and be able to be blessed with in my life is of the work that I've done for myself or my brothers and sisters. Sister's a nurse, brother's a truck driver, another brother raps, another sister does music, another sister is just another nurse, another sister works, you know, at the hotel company, and, you know, the majority of us working individuals, you know what I mean, that just going day to day, you know, year to year. So when you see the world saying that, Eazy merchandise, this, that, and the other, just knowing how big of a plateau my father's on, you know what I mean? There's at times when things do get hard for us as kids, we look at like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, it comes to this. Same story you're saying. I just left that same place that you're talking about before I got here. I go check on it. I pay bills. Times get hard. I you know what I mean? Pay for house.
Your grandmother's still alive?
Yeah, most definitely. My grandfather passed away about a year, 3 years ago.
So your grandparents are still living in the same house?
My grandmother is, she's flourished on. She's living, after my grandfather passed, she's living in life, travels, goes on her little ventures. She just kind of like lives. You know, my grandfather went since, you know, I think a year after his son passed away, which is 20 years ago, he had a stroke, then had another stroke. So he's gone dialysis, we're talking about 15, 18 years, you know what I mean? So her life was focused on her husband. So as he passed away, she really got to just go and live. So focusedly at the house now is just me and my little brothers kind of oversee it, you know what I mean? And you want to imagine at times now, N.W.A, Straight Outta Compton coming out, how many tourists we get that drive by and with a camera or taking pictures. You're like, hey, is that the police? He's driving by, he just got a camera in his back seat of his truck, and like, wow. Like you see on an Instagram post, they had to stop by at night and take a picture while we were all sleeping. So that same house that we're speaking on in Compton, California, at the time that we did an interview, it's Compton. You know what I mean? It's more about, you know, I remember when you did the interview, like you're saying, it was kind of touchy. You see me having a thing on me, you know, making sure, and it's more so for your protection and our protection as each other, for individuals who just might have a thought, individuals that might think to come down or by a situation when it's business going on. So it's just my whole, you know what I mean, kind of like my little shield of card, like, you bet not. But that's just the life I grew up and been in, you know what I mean? Like I say, after my father passed away, I stepped off the porch, you know what I mean, at 11 years old, and kind of lived that street life, you know what I mean? Was it built for him to want me to do that? No, you know, I tell people like that time, shit happens, you know. It's fucked up, like, you know what I mean? Like, as we were talking before, like, you know, you want to know how I feel if my daddy was taken away from me, you know, with a person who didn't have no thought process of his children that he had or anything. So, you know what I mean? Just this world is messed up, and it built me to be, I feel I still would have been, just not as strong to take as much pain as a man that I am now. You know what I mean? And it just created me into, you know, that type of individual. So I lived the street life. I lived that. Me looking around and doing that, that's just a part of my spidey senses, you know what I mean? My hood senses, is, you know what I mean? Like, make sure everything's okay. You know, I got company over here. You know, it's still on the pop, and I did a lot of different things. A lot of individuals that may just not like me or want to see me shine, like my father did. My father was loved by my city. He did a lot for a lot of people. You doing interviews with Cocaine, Doc, and all of them, they'll tell you, Cocaine, a great story that Cocaine cried to me and said his children needed an operation that he couldn't afford at the time. My father paid for it. DOC, you know, to fix as much as your trachea or, you know, your voice box that you can have. My father paid for that. You know, he did a lot out of his heart for individuals besides the stuff that people want to exploit, bad businessship. Yeah. Oh, you know what I mean? You're talking about a person that I give you all, I'm going to do all, let me take most.
Tomica Wright came around sort of near the end.
Mm-hmm.
But as Eazy got sick, seems like, you know, from what I understand, they got married very quickly, and the paperwork for Ruthless was signed onto her very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It was signed over at the time that your dad was already sick?
Signed on the time when they possibly felt like he was, to be honest with you, probably around the time when he felt like this stuff needs to be talked about. It's kind of like a person sitting there saying, hey, I didn't think about life insurance, where we're at that time where we need to think about it. You know what I'm saying? So it was around the time, honestly, to my knowledge, it was around the time when it's starting to think about what's going to go on with these things and that you have going on, that you have and your children. So yeah, that was, a lot of people don't know, you know, the end, yeah, Tomica was around a little bit, maybe a couple of years before the end. You know, I mean, a lot of people just don't really know, but you're talking to a kid. When we went to your house now, you know, she's there. You know, we went to your house. She's actually taking care of us. She actually took care of us, you know. She actually, you know, she has my little brother who was 2 going on 3 years old. I mean, 1 or 2 going on 3 at the time my father passed away, and she was pregnant with 1. So she has been around for, you know, a little bit of time. You know, she's taking care of us. And yeah, you know what I mean? It's very touchy on what a lot of people feel, what happened at the hospital, where she come from, how she get this, how she got that. It's just like, a lot of gotta understand it's like this. It's one way or the other. You don't have things situated and set up. You can't leave it to your parents. They don't know too much, you know. Let's just say a whole heap of company, or they, as Suge would say, or anybody in that sense, let me use one of his words, are gonna fight you for this and get it, or either end up taking it away from you. You can't give it to no kids, you know what I mean? So at the time, being in music herself, what other understanding they got? Can I honestly tell you the understanding at the time, that day on the bed? No. My grandmother, yeah, she can. Have I asked her? I don't care to. You know what I mean? It happened. You know what I mean? I don't care to. And the times that I want to, I could. There's times that I can fish for certain things, but I have a knowledge to what the situation was going on at the time when he decided to say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is what's going to happen. And it was handed over to her, and she had a lot of fighting and paying to do to keep it from individuals say, I own this, I own that, I'm a part of this, Eric did this with me, So this is what we're going to deal with when he passes away. You know what I mean? We're going to deal with not only that, kids, all kind of stuff. Oh, I think I need child support. Oh, I think I need this. Oh, I think I need this. He's worth $50 million at the time. And we're talking how big of an individual he was back then.
Eazy E was worth $50 million at the time that he passed.
1995.
So $50 million in 1995 is the equivalent to around $80 million in 2015. Okay. Almost 100 million.
Yeah, fair. Without Bone Thugs and Harmony getting a Grammy, or being a multi-selling group that he didn't get to see.
Yeah.
So you're talking about all of that then. So you're talking about a whole lot of problems, headache, battles in court, you know, rights, yada yada. So when people ask me, I understand, you know, I get, and it's funny because I get this from both sides. I get this from some brothers and sisters that we argue and battle about what they feel about their stepmother, and you know what others feel about her, you know, and how this happened and how this happened. Because you gotta understand is some kids are still gonna be driven about what their mother knew at that time with my father, not with no new woman knew, you know what I mean? So it's always gonna be touchy. You see what I'm saying? And so it's yeah, she definitely did. They definitely got the whole marriage with Whoop. It's controversy on the marriage license. It's controversy on what happened and all that. But to come to the end of the story, she fought for it, got ruthless. You know what I mean? And
she got ruthless completely.
Completely.
That was completely her company.
Completely.
So the question is, once she got ruthless, did she help to take care of the kids?
We had a trust fund. What did you say that came from her? It came from the situation and the deal that they instructed through court, when he was on his deathbed.
So your dad did have a trust fund for the kids?
That's a good question, because you have one story that says he did, and then you have another story that says it was set in after she controlled the whole estate and got it and issued it out. Of course, all the mothers went to court. All of them were given child support, and all of them were given Social Security for the children.
As they should.
And she, you know, she's been very helpful in different situations in different life, current events with different childs, you know, and working with her, I kind of like seeing a lot of that and oversee a lot of them coming, you know, because it's one area we go and deal with, and that goes with our father's trust as his children. So as the oldest one, I kind of was notified of a lot that did this or was doing this or asking for this or needed that. So to a certain extent, as the extent that you think of a man that's $50 million and for his children not to go through, yeah, it kind of could be tight. You know what I mean? A lot may look at it like, hey, you know, we weren't going to ride high and thinking like we had a silver spoon in our mouth, and kind of appreciate a lot of things we did. And a lot feel like, okay, yeah, but not just that hard, you know, in the nature you're speaking, like, yeah, but, you know, like, damn, we got to be out here like this. Hey, it's my life, you know, my life is going to keep moving regardless of who don't, you know what I mean? You could be my best friend and hit the lotto, and I expected, hey, that, you know, you're going to pat me on the back with $100 million that you preferred. You could pat me on the back with a million if that's not going to hurt you at the same time. So I'm not like one to run off that.
I mean, do you feel that you deserved as
all of our children, yeah,
you know, like to own a piece of Ruthless and to own a piece of you know, this money machine that your dad keeps you know, keeps running? You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, when you see an Eazy E shirt, or you know, then you see how much Straight Outta Compton made, and you check your mailbox and there's no check in there for you. Does it make you feel some type of way?
Nah, dog. I still got to wake up in the morning and go grinding like I was born and raised to do, and the father that I had, in the same bloodline that I had, I got to go get it. So it's what's like this. It's like this. We're bowling down 2 lanes. It's courteous for me to not bowl at the same time you bowl. That's just courteous. You know, we're best friends. We grew up together. We're rocking. God forbid something happened to you, and your son's out here on his lonely with his mother and them, they're struggling. It's courteous for me to do right by you. You know, this world don't involve a lot of people who have courtesy in them to sit there and do a lot of things. I learned that at a young age. So therefore, that's just my answer I'm giving to you. Just more understanding and broaden to where I still got to wake up and do what I can. Now, hey, if everything was right and this world just kept turning in an oval or ball shape, then hey, we're all happy and peaceful and all that. But no, we got individuals who are out here and, you know, beat their mama, kill their mama and their kid for $1.
All right, let me put it into a slightly different perspective for you. I interviewed Kamani Marley.
Mm-hmm. Kamani, yes, good friend. We just met each other not too long ago.
You met each other? Yeah. I interviewed him at his brother's house, his brother's condo, I guess, in Manhattan. And it was nice. Like, it was like, okay, this is the Marley legacy right here.
Exactly, yeah.
And these are his children enjoying the impact that their father made on the world. And like you don't hear about one of the Marley kids living in the hood and having to tuck a pistol in their waist when they have company over. Mm-hmm. You just don't.
Real talk.
You know, I know, you know, we were talking about Ziggy Marley. Me and Kamani talked a little bit afterwards. He was talking about Ziggy. I said, oh, you know, Ziggy lives in LA. I said, what part? Oh, Beverly Hills. You know, there's no poor part of Beverly Hills. There's no part in Beverly Hills where you have to pack a pistol. Mm-hmm. It's Beverly Hills. Mm-hmm. And when you look at, you know, and that's what, you know, it just, looking at that, it just bothers me a little bit. It's been bothering me all these years, ever since we did that interview 10 years ago. It's just like, something about it just doesn't sit right on me. Oh, yeah. Where you have someone who's, like you said, worth 50 million, you know, and Bone Thugs and Harmony is still, you know, Crossroads still gets put in movies and everything else like that. And Straight Outta Compton became the #1 album after the movie came out, and the movie made 200 million. And you know, Eazy E's album, I'm sure, is still selling, you know, very well. And you know what I mean? Like, there's timeless music, and there's the merchandising, there's everything else like that. And the oldest son is still living in the hood. It doesn't sit right on me. Nah. I'm sorry. Like, you know, if you don't want to say it, I'm gonna say it.
I appreciate it. I respect it. It's a good one, because at the time I was living in Porter Ranch, but just that it's very bold as far as in what's understood, and it is true in a sense.
And Eazy-E's and Eazy's parents,
yeah, to be there,
are still in a dangerous, you know, and I don't know, because sometimes grandparents just don't want to move.
Exactly, that's the exact story. They just didn't want to move. They own houses outside of Compton. My grandfather was just one of those men that, okay, I'm not going to be over there. I don't want this house. I'm going to be at my house where I was raised. Okay. So, there were times. I mean, that's the story of my grandparents. Period, point blank, is to understand what you're saying, because me not living in Compton at that time, when I did live in Porter Ranch, I just more so was realist of bringing you where it all started to. Me at the time living in Porter Ranch was still the house that I got myself off of my own doing. That's what I'm saying. It's very understandable what you're saying.
So I assume that your house in Porter Ranch is not a 10-bedroom mansion.
Oh, no, not 10, not 10. Like maybe that. 3 or 4, not 10. And right. I did that off all my hard work. So yeah. When you think about the things, because it's like I tell people, you know what I mean, when they do see me with fancy stuff, or at times, or the times I did do it or doing this, it's all, you know, you might have naysayers or haters. It's oh, well, you know what I mean, you're a rich kid. Like, check this out. I blew my trust fund before I could receive my trust fund. Really? I have children, so my trust fund went to the processing for them and me growing before I was able to receive it. I was given a deadline at an age to where I could touch it all myself, and I demanded that I touched it more before then. So a lot of people sit there and say that, like, oh, you off of this? Oh, man, I blew through that before it could be blowed through. You know what I mean? And a lot of brothers and sisters of mine. So, and then you might have some that if they did the interview, if you was asking that personal question right now, they'll sit there and say, hey, what? The little bit that we did get, you know, dividing out 9, 10 kids at that time could be quite a much for what we received. But it's not quite as what is expected, you know. It's not quite as what, let me go back to say, which is the courtesy or the right thing to do, you know what I mean? Right.
And it was not continuing as the company that he built continued to make money. Yeah, I think that's more important. Like to me, I've always been the type to say I don't give a fuck about what the lump sum is. I'd rather make a little bit over time.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as this particular business makes money, I want to have a percentage of this. Like that's how I built my business with YouTube and everything else like that. I knew there wasn't a big payday in the beginning, but if I continued to keep grinding, I would eventually become successful.
Exactly.
And that's the thing about Ruthless is that, yeah, Ruthless is not a label anymore that puts out, you know, music that's hitting the charts. I mean, I don't even know, is Ruthless still a company? Does it still exist?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it's a legacy label.
Mm-hmm.
It's focused on the catalog. And your dad was smart enough to actually keep his masters and keep his publishing and keep all that kind of stuff. And like I said, it continues to make money.
Yeah, most
You know, it's still on the charts. It's still making publishing. It's still having sales.
It's got
It's still merchandising.
Yes, even selling more now. Yeah,
it's selling more now.
Even the fact of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Let me go get an album. Let me go get it.
Exactly.
And just for collection. So most definitely, that is very true. And like I say, you have a lot of siblings that feel very strong about as far as in why do we have to go through this? You know what I mean? But
because, you know, for example, Bob Marley's wife, Rita Marley, he had kids outside of them and so forth, but I've always heard, you know, that she made sure that all the kids were good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't just about her and her particular kids. It wasn't just about, you know, Steven and Ziggy and, you know, the girls. It was about Damien was okay, Kamani was okay, like, you know, Rohan was okay, like all the kids.
Most definitely, as it should be.
You know, and they all, on top of that, all the kids were able to use the Marley name to build their own businesses. You see what I'm saying? They're able to, and it wasn't like, well, I own everything. I'm the only one that could use Bob Marley. I'm going to sue you if you try to use the Marley name. You know, like I was at the store the other day and I saw Ziggy Marley coconut oil. You know, it was like $20 for a bottle, something crazy. But it was like, you know, there's, you know, Bob Marley iPhone covers and, you know, Bob Marley clothing and all this type of stuff that the different kids were able to use. But let's just say that you decided to come up with an Eazy E line of T-shirts. Would you get sued?
Probably get a phone call. Wouldn't get sued, but I feel your drift. I get a phone call.
Right.
I'm in the back catching with you, baby.
Yeah.
I definitely feel you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely.
You yourself cannot actually directly profit off of your father's legacy in the same way that the Marleys can.
So it's a good view of a struggle that we've been going through for years. And it's funny, it's like you said, like I just told you off air, off camera, a lot of things that we're talking on the things that I go through in life just right now. Another thing that goes back to whole brothers and sisters have not been in the same room together and actually talked or been with each other, you know what I mean? And we just recently did that on a tip with the ground base of the ones that grew up together with our father, not the kids who were found it out afterwards, but and was a big topic on, you know, just of how they've been feeling for years and all that, you know, and how me as a brother don't really feel or have that drive. You know, you have one sister who understands that, like, the stuff Eric has been through in life and places he's been and situations is a blessing that I'm here. And the things I'm going through is just, it just grew me into an understanding is we've been fucked a long time.
Well, one of your sisters actually spoke out about this.
Oh, very much, Aaron.
Aaron.
Yeah, very much. That's who exactly I was with just 2 days ago. A day ago.
Aaron blasted Tomica.
Yeah, very much. They have their own personal relationship that is kind of very much Rocky Mountain, and she has a strong feel about the things that we are talking about and things, and it came to a conflict between me and her at a point in time. To understand as a big brother who she looks upon and feels it should bat for her, doesn't go to bat for her in a situation in ways like that. And I just tell her it comes with prayer and more time and maturity, that sooner or later we will, but we went through a lot of struggle. We've been getting fucked for years. I mean, we got the individual we're speaking on and his legacy taken away from us. We didn't look at him outside as no Eazy E. He was Eric Wright, our daddy, you know what I mean? Our daddy, of course. So and which basically did for a lot of things that we didn't want. Like, you know, now mind you, when people talk like, hey, okay, were you raised in Beverly Hills or Riverside at the time? No, I was raised in Compton, California, but when he was alive, but I still didn't want for nothing, you know what I mean? And I think that maybe just something.
I mean, Montessori ain't cheap.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. I know.
That's what I'm saying.
Back then,
you went
I
to
know.
a rich kid school.
Oh yeah, back then, I very much know. From 2 to 14, we tried 12 years. 12 years of doing that, and not just me, but me and his second son and his nephew. So, yeah, it very much isn't. But he took care of us. I always ask my grandmother, what was it about me staying in Compton or what that? You know, it's just that's how he wanted me to grow up and raised, you know what I mean? Go to school, right, be smart, but grew up where I was. So I kind of just kept that life ending. But back to the whole things that just should have been much workable for us. And his trust, his catalog is, you know what I mean, is a big question mark. But it's a question mark that I, long time ago, left alone. I have a sister who fights strongly for that. Strongly to understand that, and strongly does not respect or accept that. And it's crazy because it's something we're dealing with that just hit home now, you know what I mean, as far as just really understanding, like, you're right, you know what I mean, and then see the impact of a refurbishing of what he is now, and to be one of the biggest things that's going, and our father to be the whole creator of that. You're like, yeah, well, now it's like, man, yeah, you're speaking about it, like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? But as far as in Spilled Milk, is the 20 years that we didn't, I kind of just tucked it in a box, though, to be honest with you. I kind of just went on and did what I had to. It's times I look at my kids, myself, and my little girls understand, and when they get older, like, you know, that's my grandpa, like, grandpa did all of this, like, I had my 8-year-old. My 8-year-old's like, well, why isn't my grandpa able to do this and grandma won't have to worry about that? My 8-year-old said that. So to understand, I feel it deeply. Like I feel it to where a core to where my own child, who's 8 years old, that like knows a lot about her grandfather's legacy and the things, but sit there and really look at it like, yeah, well, my grandpa started all that, and he would have just got this for grandma, and grandma wouldn't have to worry about this. Like, oh, okay, well, grandma has this, or grandma needs to take her car to go, you know, well, grandma, you shouldn't have to, you know, like for a kid to say that. So it's times you sit there and you really think about it and harp on it where it hit home and the heart, and you be like, hey, like, you know, I mean, dog, like I tell you, just pray. Like we're due for something, because we've been played all our life. We've been played all our life, dog.
I know Jaden a little bit. You know, we run into each other in Calabasas.
That's cute. He can date all the
he
white
was wearing
girls.
a dress last
wear all
time.
the
Last time I seen him.
To.
Yeah, he was wearing a dress last time I seen him.
Okay. Does he come down to Crenshaw with one on?
I don't think he goes to Crenshaw, period.
I don't think. You might slip down there, but he ain't got no goddamn skirt on when he comes down there. I bet you that.
Speak up for the black community on the main stage, because she don't got to do that. Beyonce's rich. Beyonce's not black or white. She's Beyonce. All right? She's not man or woman. She's Beyonce. She's reached that level like Oprah. Like Oprah's just an entity. That's what Beyonce is. So Beyonce don't have to speak up for us.